Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Docker on Raspberry Pi. So in this episode we are going to talk about Docker Compose. So what a Docker Compose is and why we need it. So let's assume you have 5 to 6 Docker images and you want to run their container. So the basic thing to start a container is a command you need is, so for example, and the name of it. So this is the very basic image you want to the basic command which you need to start a container. Now let's say if I say I want to start the container in the background mode, so I'll use -d flag, and now let's say I want my containers to be restarted whenever my device reboots, so for that I'll use restart flag. Okay, now let's say I have few files which I mount to inside the container, so for this I'll probably give the path to where the file is located in my host, and then I'll give the path where I want that file to be present inside the container. So let's say you have different files for it and you want to mount them inside. So this becomes a very hectic process. Why? Because you might miss some steps and then it can show you error. So this is where the Docker comes in place. Docker Compose comes in place. So in Docker Compose you can mention all the files you want to share, you can tell which images you want to add and everything else which you want while starting a container. So now let's have a look at the Docker Compose file. But before that, let me show you the 3 images which I have created. So here you can see that I have created 3 directories: image 1, image 2 and image 3. These directories contain the Docker file which I want to use. This is the Docker file. Let me show you the content of the Docker file first. This is the same which we have done in our second video, and the content of our main file, again we are simply printing hello world message, or you can say this is the first Docker image message. Same is the case with other 3 directories which I have made. Now instead of writing command for these 3 images manually, we'll simply put all these information in a Docker Compose file, and then we'll simply run the Docker Compose command. So let's create a Docker Compose file, and the Docker Compose file is basically a YML file. So I'll create a sudo nano docker compose.yml file. So the first thing which you need to mention inside a Docker Compose file is a version number. So at present we are using the version 3. Now you need to mention all the services which you want. Okay, so here you cannot press enter, you cannot press tab. You need to use the spaces, because if you are using tab while running the command for the Docker Compose, it will give you an error. Okay, so first we need to mention the name of our first service. So let's say we want image 1. Now here you need to mention the build flag and the path to the file where your Docker file is present. So I'll mention the complete path. So this is my directory where my Docker file is present, and I have given the full path to that directory. Now after this, I want to share few files from my host to the container, so I'll use this volume flag and I will give the path where my file is present, and it is present inside this is the file 1 which I want to share. And let's say that I want this file okay, so I want this file to be in the share. So while in the container, this file 1 contents will be inside the share file. Okay, so if you have more files, you can simply add the path here. Now one more flag is I want my container to be restarted always. Okay, so this is done. This is the basic thing which I want at present for my container to start. if you have another any more like any more flags, for example, if you want your container to start in a privilege mode, or you want to use hardware of the host, you can mention all other things here. So the same step will follow for our image 2 and image 3. So I will simply copy this complete lines and let's edit it quickly. This is for the image 2. The image 2 is present inside this directory, and the file which I want to share is in this directory. The name of the file is file 2, and I want it to be restarted always. Same is for image 3. Okay, so this looks great, and this is our Docker Compose file basically. And now let's go ahead and run the command. So before running the command, let me show you, I do not have any of the images built at present. I also do not have any running containers, but when we will run the command for the Docker Compose, what Docker Compose will do is it will start building the images and will run its containers. So to start the process of composing, the command you need is sudo docker compose up. So this is the basic command. If you want this command to run in background, you can specify this -d flag, but let's not do that for this video. Okay, yes, so this is. Now another thing I want to mention here is that while the process is happening, you first also need to install the Docker Compose. So to basically install the Docker Compose in Raspberry Pi, all you need to do is run the sudo pip3 docker compose. So the Docker Compose will be installed in your Raspberry Pi. So okay, so the process seems to be working normally. Here you can see that what it first did is it built the image 2, and these are the steps which we mentioned in our Docker file, and the same it goes for the image 1 and image 3 also. And at last you can see that creating pi image 2 done, creating pi image 2 done, creating pi, and this is done, I guess. So now let's open another terminal. Here let's do first the docker images. Okay, so here you can see that this is the image 3 images which we have just created using our docker compose command. Now let's do docker ps, and these are the 3 containers running for the images which we have just created. So this is all about the basic things of Docker Compose and how you can use it. So this is all for this video. Please like, share, subscribe and comment if you have any questions regarding this. Thank you.